Hi, KOIN 6 meteorologist Josh Cozart here. As we prepare for excessive heat to return to much of the Pacific Northwest, we wanted to hop on this KOIN Now to give you the latest updates and answer any questions that you might have as the excessive temperatures once again continue to build here across the Pacific Northwest. It's all thanks to a heat dome that's going to really kind of set up shop right over the western half of the country. High pressure, very similar to what we saw back in August last year, where we saw temperatures climb up into the 100s for a few days, and also a little similar to what we experienced back in 2021. If you've been staying with us here on KOIN News, you may remember us talking a lot about the excessive all-time record-breaking temperatures of 116 degrees that we experienced just 3 years ago. This month, we're just days out from that anniversary, as yet again we now prepare for yet again another round of potentially deadly heat returning to much of the Pacific Northwest. You can see the live look at the bright blue sunny skies just below me here as we take a live look out over downtown Portland on this Tuesday afternoon. Today, the coolest day of the week. It's only up from here as high pressure continues to build, and with the building heat, it's really going to be pushing its way from the west to the east. But this is also very similar to an omega blocking pattern. So that is basically how the jet stream is set up. We'll draw some lines here for us. That way we can get a little bit better of an idea. So here is where our jet stream is currently located. It's the gatekeeper between the cold air or the cooler air to the north, and to the south, that's where the excessive heat will be found. This is looking like an omega sign, and an omega blocking pattern typically kind of prevents any storm systems from moving west to east. So that's exactly what we're going to be seeing here over the next several days, as high pressure really just sits and stays over much of the Pacific Northwest. And with its clockwise winds, it's really able to kind of push that excessive heat right into our region, and it is all coming from the desert southwest, and that's just going to continue to add fuel to the potential fires that we could see over the next several days. So we all have to be extremely cautious as we move through the 4th of July holiday weekend, because that fire threat is going to increase as our temperatures do just the same. Let's go ahead and give you just a bit of a snapshot of what we're expecting to see for the 4th of July itself. That's where upper 90s are a possibility, maybe even climbing close to 100, 102, 103, all a possibility, and not out of the realm of possibility as we continue to push our way through the rest of this week. So don't let the temperatures in the 70s that we're experiencing right now catch you off guard, because we will be seeing the summer heat return in a big way. Now, over the past, we've seen some comfortable 4th of July temperatures, but this go around, we're talking about highs in the 90s for the Portland, Vancouver metro area, the I-5 corridor. And again, if you're just now joining us here on this KOIN Now on Facebook or on YouTube, you can ask your questions in the comments below, and we'll hopefully get those answered for you throughout the duration of this KOIN Now live, again, on Facebook and YouTube. So thanks for joining us here, and be sure to share this. That way your friends also have the latest excessive heat information that we are preparing to endure here in Western Oregon and Washington. Now, the Oregon coast, that's going to be kind of our cool haven, just the same with the high train at the Cascades. Temperatures only managing to get up into the 70s in really kind of both those locations. But just within about the past hour or so, the National Weather Service out of Portland has gone ahead and issued that excessive heat warning. Yes, it's a warning now. We could potentially see temperatures climbing close to 110 degrees through the I-5 corridor. This is really going to get underway on Thursday, take us all the way through the weekend into the overnight hours on Sunday. And when I mention the overnight hours, there's going to be very little relief from the heat, as our early morning lows only expecting to fall back into the 60s in many cases. So this is going to be something that is going to be long-term and very difficult to find any relief from those temperatures. Now, further off to the east, this is going to be later in the week. We're talking about Friday through Tuesday. So by the end of this week, into the weekend, and into the start of next week, maybe you're visiting family and friends out east of the Columbia River Gorge, east of the Cascades. That's where an excessive heat watch is in effect. So this is what the Portland I-5 area was under just a few hours ago. The potential for dangerous heat. This could very easily flip over to an excessive heat warning as we move closer to Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. But again, temperatures climbing up into the triple-digit zone is not out of the realm of possibility as we continue to push through this first major heat wave of the summer season. Now, it's not just us here in the Pacific Northwest. Maybe you're heading south to places like Nevada, California. All of our temperatures across the western half of the country for Saturday, the peak of this latest round of heat, expecting to see a lot of triple digits here. This is going to be, again, potentially dangerous, if not even deadly, for many of us here across the western half of the country. Whereas the Great Lakes, the Northeast, all expected to see really conditions on the comfortable side into the 80s for Columbus, Ohio. Chicago, probably just about the same, into the low to mid 80s. Very comfortable for this long holiday 4th of July weekend, but not to say the same for us here across the West. So the big takeaway, the headlines, is the heat dome is on its way. It's building right now just offshore, and it's pressing its way closer to our region. That's where the excessive heat is going to be found. Now, if you want to take a break from the heat, that's where you have to head up in elevation. Right now, 60 degrees out towards the Mount Hood Meadows area, the snow quickly melting. That's going to be increasing our wildfire potential. So use extreme caution. Folks, just don't do the fireworks. It's just as easy as that. Leave that to the professionals. We have some great fireworks that will be shown right here along the Tom McCall waterfront with the Blues Festival happening for the 4th of July into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. You can get your tickets and all the latest information right now at KOIN.com. But again, the cooler locations that will be up in elevation where the snow is still sticking around, at least for right now, or out along the coastline where we're enjoying some bright blue sunny skies out towards Lincoln City. Those clouds quickly mixing out as we pushed our way through the mid-morning hours and eventually into this afternoon. Now, this is a pretty picture out towards Canby. Our Swan Island Dahlias camera really showing that the flowers are in full swing as far as their buds are starting to crop up. And the sunshine really going to help a lot of our gardens maybe speed up or even dry out. So now's the time to start prepping your landscape for the excessive heat on top of everything else that we are currently dealing with. 73 degrees, that's where we are currently sitting out at PDX, expecting to see those temperatures rapidly warm as the rest of the week moves forward for us. So definitely keep that in mind if you're just joining us now for this KOIN Now live special on Facebook and YouTube as we prepare for a potentially deadly heat dome to return to the Pacific Northwest. Talking about 73 degrees now, but likely climbing up into the triple digits once again. Satellite and radar showing all is calm, quiet, and clear. A northwesterly wind is helping to keep humidity values higher, so that's making it feel a little on the muggier side. This has been something we've been dealing with since over the weekend. The trade-off with the hot conditions that we'll see later in the week is we'll see reduced humidity, so that's good for the comfortability level, not making our heat indices feel well above maybe 110, but it is going to help to dry things out. So all of the lush landscape that we've built up over the past few spring months, early summer months, well, that is now going to quickly dry out, and that will be fuel to potential fires starting spreading rapidly. So we need to use extreme caution here in the coming days. Our day planner shows that the rest of this afternoon will only be getting up into the mid-70s. Enjoy the cool down, the sunny conditions. This is kind of the Goldilocks zone for us because this will quickly become a distant memory. On average, the month of July, we should be seeing our temperatures normally right around 82 degrees here in the Rose City. 58 degrees is that overnight low. Typically, we'll be well above that here in the coming days. And this is normally our driest month of the year, only amounting to about a half inch of moisture. That is what we will likely be seeing, if not even less, as this hot, dry stretch of weather really starts to build. You'll remember for the start of June, we were on the wet side of things. A much different picture for us as we enter into the month of July. Again, if you're just now joining us, that is where the excessive heat warning from the National Weather Service out of Portland is currently in place. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, would like specifics about this heat and how it might relate to your holiday weekend plans, you can comment below on Facebook or on YouTube as this is live. I'll try to get those all answered for you here within the next few minutes. So for Friday, the day after the 4th of July, that's where we expect to see those temperatures get back up to about 101, 98 degrees for us as we round out that record last set just last year, 2023. And we are expecting to see those temperatures still remain well above that, even into Saturday, July 6th. 97 degrees is the old record set back in 1960. That one will likely come to an end as Sunday also brings the heat with 103, our forecasted high. The old record set back in 2010, and that was when we hit only 95 degrees. So there's a lot of outdoor activities happening. Maybe you're boating, maybe you're camping, maybe you're heading out to the Tamaka waterfront for the Waterfront Blues Festival. A lot of us spending time outside, maybe even poolside, just relaxing and enjoying the heat, but you need to stay hydrated days in advance. So now's the time, if you are planning on spending any extended amount of time outside, to be mindful, to protect yourself, be ready for the heat that we expect to see. And that's where the light color loose fitting clothing will be a must for us. You want to take frequent breaks inside. You also want to make sure that you are protecting yourself with sunscreen and that you are heading indoors to an AC location. Now, we've been talking a lot with Multnomah County in discussion of how the cooling centers will be open. It seems like they're leaning in that direction. Of course, we will have the latest updates on all of that as we continue our discussion with them. Now that the National Weather Service has issued that excessive heat warning, likely going to be coming into place here in the coming days. Of course, we'll have the latest information on that live on KOIN News and online, but starting at 4 o'clock on air, and we'll get you those latest updates. Now, as far as the heat-related illnesses go, this is something that we need to be extremely cautious about, be mindful of, and be vigilant of our friends, family members, our people that we pass by the streets every single day. So heat exhaustion, that's going to be the fainting or the potentially, or feeling faint, I should say, feeling dizzy, excessive sweating. Maybe you're starting to feel cool, or maybe even you're feeling a little clammy. That's going to be the exact result of heat exhaustion. This is very typical for so many of us. So we want to make sure that we are cooling down, we're drinking water, and we are removing ourselves from the heat, no matter how much fun we might be having, and finding an AC location to protect ourselves. Now, as far as heat stroke goes, that's where 911 is a must. You need to call immediately. If you or someone else is experiencing anything from a throbbing headache, you have stopped you're sweating completely, you are red hot, you have dry skin, rapid pulse, struggling to breathe, loss of consciousness, of course, that's where someone else in your group will need to take action to call 911 to get yourself help. So here's the breakdown with our futurecast, at least for the short term. I'm checking in on any questions that anyone might have right now on this KOIN Now Facebook Live. Thanks again for joining us. We are also on YouTube, where you can ask your questions, get the answers right here live with me, meteorologist Josh Cozart, and KOIN 6 News. So these bright blue sunny skies that we are currently experiencing, that's just going to continue for us, as that nice onshore flow does just the same, keeping relative humidity values on the hotter side. Now, as we work our way into tonight, still holding on to the clear conditions for us, we'll push ourselves into Wednesday, Thursday, not a cloud to be seen, winds out of the north, so that's going to kind of cut off that moisture flow, help us to dry out as we work our way through the next several days. The excessive heat, sunny skies, all going to be in full force as we work our way through the weeks and into the weekend eventually as well. So no rain to speak of. At least today, our temperature is expected to get up into the 60s along the coast if they have not already done so. The I-5 corridor, only expecting to round out in the upper 70s, but this is going to be the coolest day of the next, what appears to be maybe the next 7 days for us. So we need to be mindful of that as we prepare for these hot, excessive, and dangerous temperatures. Let's go ahead and take this full for you so you can get the full impact of what our 7-day forecast has in store for us. Seeing those temperatures climb up into the 80s for Wednesday, 83. That's the beginning of the warming trend. For Thursday, that's where we hit the mid-90s. It will be a toasty 4th of July for us. The scorching heat pushes us into the century mark above 100 degrees. 101 a possibility. For Saturday, also expecting to see those temperatures climb to about 105. That will be the peak of the heat, potentially the dangerous day for so many of us who might not be able to easily remove ourselves from the excessive heat. So be mindful, check up on people, check up on neighbors, especially if nobody has AC. This is going to be the biggest impact to those individuals and anyone spending time out along the water as well. Now for Sunday, doesn't get much better, 103. Now, when you hit 100 degrees, it really doesn't matter how much more you tack on. It's just downright miserable. And you'll notice those early morning lows not expecting to give us any real relief at all either. Falling back into the mid to upper 60s, maybe even 70 degrees in some locations, will not allow for our living spaces to cool down as rapidly as say, if we were to falling back to 58 degrees, which is our normal for this time of year. That won't be the case. So that's why I've gone ahead and highlighted those days in red. A KOIN 6 weather alert underway for the 4th of July, extended through the weekend into the start of next week, as potentially dangerous, if not even deadly, heat is a possibility. I want to go ahead and just take us back to those temperatures, the records that will potentially be broken here in the coming days. That's where we expect to surpass records for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some of the hottest temperatures we have experienced so far this summer. And in the grand scheme of things, we've been on the mild side, but we have not seen heat like this. We've already managed to climb up into the low 90s a few times so far this summer, but this is going to be the hottest that we are seeing. And I'm just now getting in a question from Addison asking, is there a red flag warning? Right now, there is not a red flag warning in place. That does not mean that can change, but we really like to look at the humidity values for that. So let's go ahead and we'll just go and pull up our humidity here. Let me get a little bit better of a view. So humidity values along the coast, along the I-5 corridor, into the low to mid 40s for the I-5 corridor. It's definitely dry out towards the east. Burns at only about 15% relative humidity value. And that's our relation to our temperatures, much different than the dew point. But when we like to look at all of those combined, that gives us a better idea of if a red flag warning will be put in place. It's the 4th of July. Now is the time to use extreme caution as we have that potential. And I'll go ahead and just pull up for us as well, if my computer will cooperate with us, that fire weather dangers. So this is looking at the potential for thunderstorm activity. It's also looking for the potential for things like low relative humidity values, hot, dry, sunny, windy conditions. They're all factored into this count. So right now, for this Tuesday afternoon, seeing our fire weather danger right around 3 or so. So that's moderate. And it has been higher when we have had those red flag warnings that were in place down towards the south and southeast. As we kind of push this through the rest of this afternoon, expecting it, as we do in the heat of the day, to get back up to about 4. So still about the moderate levels. I'm going to go ahead and just update this live for you guys, get it flipped over to, that way we can kind of look over the next several days. So let's just go ahead and push this out through Thursday. We'll just kind of take this stamp by stamp. So this is Wednesday evening. Still expecting to see those moderate, if not even on the lower side of things. But keep in mind, it's going to be hot. It's going to be dry. A lot of the vegetation that we've built up is going to continue to kind of add fuel to the fire. We're now into Thursday morning. This is the 4th of July. Thursday evening, relatively low for us, if not back up to the moderate level, and that's where we still have the potential. It's still a few days out. The hot, dry, sunny conditions could potentially spark red flag warnings in effect if our relative humidity values stay low enough. So that was a great question in from Addison Williams. So thank you for asking that question, Addison. As far as those temperatures go, though, it's really going to be the brunt, the biggest cause for concern as we work our way through the next several days. We'll go ahead and get another glance right here at what's coming out from the National Weather Service, an excessive heat warning. So we could potentially see those temperatures nearing 110 degrees. By the peak of the heat, 100 starting as early as Friday. I think the hottest day will be Saturday for us, continuing to see the 100s and Sunday as well. So this really goes into effect on the 4th of July when we hit the 90s first, and then it's going to take us all the way through the weekend. Could potentially even linger into the start of next week as the excessive temperatures once again continue. Just another little snapshot at where our highs are headed over the next several days. Today, the coolest day of the week. Later this afternoon, expecting to see those temperatures into the mid to upper 70s. And just one more note, if you're just joining us in on Facebook Live or on YouTube Live, stay hydrated. Start doing that now if you're going to be spending a prolonged amount of time outdoors. This weekend for the holiday weekend, a lot of us may be boating poolside down at the Tamaka waterfront for the Waterfront Blues Festival. We'll be down there as a KOIN 6 news team giving the latest updates on the heat, but also a lot of the fun that's going to be had. But we're going to be doing all the precautions necessary to make sure that we are staying safe. And then we'll also just kind of leave you here with what you could potentially expect with the deadly heat wave that is heading our way. Know the difference between heat exhaustion, between heat stroke, when you need to call and get the latest information out to the emergency authorities, because this is going to potentially be a very volatile situation that could lead to some not great news for us as those temperatures climb back up into the triple digits. Once again, we don't say this to scare anyone. We just say this to make sure that everyone is prepared for the dangerous heat dome that is once again building over the Pacific Northwest. Stay cool. Stay with KOIN 6 News. We'll continue to have updates as this heat barrels its way closer to the Pacific Northwest in the coming days. That will do it for this KOIN Now live special on Facebook and YouTube. Get the latest information around the clock at KOIN.com, and we'll also have the latest updates on air at KOIN at 4 o'clock. So thank you again. I'm meteorologist Josh Cozart. Thanks for joining us.